Hey guys, it's Alyssa, and last week we talked to you guys about how you are enough. But this week, I want to talk to you guys about fear. Now, as we talk about how we can choose to honor God with our thoughts, I'm starting to think how tough it can be sometimes, especially when it comes to fear. You know, as we get older, the things we're afraid of change. Now, when I was younger, I was afraid of the dark. Every night, I'd always have my mom turn on my nightlight before I went to bed because I was scared. But maybe when you were younger, maybe you weren't afraid of the dark. Maybe you were afraid of spiders, or maybe you still are. But something that is encouraging is the fact that you are not alone in your fear. Everyone has their own fears, including me. Now, I may not be afraid of the dark anymore, but now I have different fears. Fears like, what if I fail at something? Or what if I disappoint my parents? Or what if I don't get the dream job that I'm hoping for? But everyone has their own fears, and many people are just pretending to be fearless. So those people that you look at and you're like, man, they are so brave, they are not scared of anything. I hate to break it to you, but they have fears as well. Now, perhaps you can ignore your fears from time to time, but fear has the ability to change the thoughts in your head. The fears in our head start to play out as what ifs. Now, our what ifs will look different for everybody. Maybe for you, it's what if I'm not smart enough? Or what if I'm not pretty enough or handsome enough? Or what if I'm not good enough to make this sports team? Now, what ifs aren't always bad, and sometimes they can help us discern and make wise decisions, but if we're not careful, those what ifs can lead to us living a life of fear. Now, we see this in the Bible when the disciples were filled with fear. In Matthew 8:24, it says, "Suddenly a fierce storm struck the lake, with waves breaking into the boat, but Jesus was sleeping. The disciples went up and woke him up, shouting, 'Lord, save us, we're going to drown.' Jesus responded, 'Why are you afraid? You have so little faith.' Then he got up and rebuked the wind and the waves, and suddenly there was a great calm. The disciples were amazed. 'Who is this man?' they asked. 'Even the wind and the waves obey him.'" Now, Jesus wasn't mad at the disciples for being afraid, but what Jesus was trying to show them was that their faith in Jesus was more powerful and more important than any storm in their lives. Jesus wanted them to know that their fear wasn't the only thing they had to feel. Now, not only did the disciples experience fear, and not only do we experience fear, but Jesus himself also experienced fear. When Jesus was ready to go on the cross and die for our sins, he was afraid. Jesus feels all the emotions that we feel, including fear. Now, that should encourage us that we're not alone in our fear. Now, I want you guys to know that you guys can control the volume on your fear. The same way that Jesus was with the disciples is how he is with us. And when we turn to him, we can turn down the volume on fear. Following Jesus doesn't mean that we'll never fear again. It just means that he can help walk us through our fear. You know, like a button, we may want to mute the volume on our fear. Instead, we need to think of fear like the volume scale. To turn down the volume when we're afraid, we can focus on the what is instead of the what ifs. So to do this, we can remember this psalm. In Psalm 23:4, it says, "Even when I walk through the darkest valley, I will not be afraid, for you are close beside me. Your rod and your staff, they protect and comfort me." Now, when we walk through the darkest times in our lives, we don't have to be afraid because God is with us. And even if your circumstances don't change, you can walk through them with the confidence and faith in Jesus, who is in control of it all. All right, that's it. I'll see you guys next week.